All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rob here. And it is, yes, still Thanksgiving 2021. I was only going to make 2 videos today. Well, 3 if you count going over to D's reviews. I made the first video all week for Cowboy Bebop. We did episode 7. And then I wasn't going to do anything until Wheel of Time, episode 4, if that drops tonight. I think it's dropping at 6 o'clock tonight. Then I'm going over to D's reviews at 8 o'clock to talk Hawkeye. And they made it sound like, oh, I'm only doing 3 videos today. Well, I'm bored, and we don't do anything for Thanksgiving. So I decided to watch Dexter New Blood. So if you're liking what we're doing here on the channel, make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing if you're not a subscriber. Helps me with my motivation to see the channel grow. Helps me want to make more content for the channel, and it shows me what you guys want to talk about. Some things I'm going to talk about irregardless, but it does help with motivation. I don't really care about monetization as much as motivation. So oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So Dexter New Blood. Look, you can't get around it, right? If you're going to talk about Dexter New Blood, you have to talk about Dexter from before. And talking about this, though, made me think about something that I say all the time, but I really think it's very important. I think one of the most important things I've ever said on the channel is like what you like. Like what you like. Okay? Because there's a lot of stuff out there, and in the last few years, the climate that is this country, we rip into each other about everything. There is not a rock you can knock over without just yelling at somebody else because they feel something about something. And I witnessed that this past week when I reviewed The Wheel of Time. And I think it has such a polarizing show. And it's got people coming at it from all different angles. And what I really, want to reiterate is, like I said, like what you like. Don't make apologies for it. And there's no real reason to get mad about it either. If people don't like the show you like, it doesn't matter. If people don't agree with you why you like the show that you like, it does not matter. It doesn't matter and it shouldn't to the people who don't like things, that want to talk about things in a negative way. That's on them too. They have the right to not like it. So I just want you all to know, don't feel discouraged because somebody doesn't like what you like. Just like what I'm doing here, right? I'm giving you my opinion. My opinion. I don't get my opinions from other people. I think a lot of people that do content do take a lot of what they hear from other facets, from other channels, from wherever you get your information. I think some people get informed and also develop some of their opinions based on what other people say, so that they can feel like, so they can have like, I don't know if I'm not going to say biased opinion, but like it helps them with their own videos. It helps them to feel better about how they feel about something, to know somebody agrees with their opinion, and so they'll jump on top of what other people are saying and add to that. And that's too. But in the end, my opinion does not matter. It shouldn't matter to how you like things. If you like what I have to say, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. But the other thing is, you don't have to, if you don't agree with me, or if people don't agree with you, with when you say you like something, their opinion doesn't matter. You don't have to take it to heart, and you don't have to feel bad about it. Don't give in to... It's important to try to not give in to when people don't like what you like, to lower yourself to where they want you to go. They want the attention and they want the negativity. So much is fed off of negativity these days. The best thing you can do with negativity for these kind of things, for these frivolous little shows and movies that are entertainment, by the way, to ignore the haters and like what you like. Make your own opinions. Find the people that you want to hear talk and listen to them, if you want. But always form your own opinions. So anyway, because that's going into this, I can see the history. I watched the original run of this show, and I am in that camp of people who there's I think the most popular opinion, right, for Dexter is seasons 1 through 4 were amazing, and then the show quickly, the next 4 years, just saw a gradual decline, and by the end, it felt like a disaster. And that's not to say that there weren't moments in there. And if you're one of those people who like the whole thing, that's fine. You know what I mean? If you saw the flaws and you went, I don't care, I still like it, because I think a lot of shows, even including this new version, it's comforting. There's a reason NCIS and shows like SVU are on TV for as long as they are. Grey's Anatomy and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter if they're good. People like that kind of stuff. It's comforting. And so, you go on, Dexter goes on for 8 years, and people that like that, they found comfort in it, just like they'll probably in this new season. Not everything has to be like the highest bar of television ever. Sometimes you just want to see something familiar that makes you feel good, that makes you remember another time period when you were enjoying a television show. But with the most popular opinion, I think, like I said, was Dexter should have really stopped around season 5 or 6. And the plots to 5 or 6 probably should have been, if they were going to end on 6, they probably could have gone in some different ways. Because to me, the show just, after 4, it became pretty predictable. And the show was always a little predictable after you got to a certain point, because you just were, Dexter's gonna do Dexter stuff. He's gonna feel like, am I about to get caught all the time? He's always trying to stay one step ahead of everybody. And there's going to be somebody important to the season that has to die by the end of it. And it's really, how is Dexter gonna get out of it? Not if he gets out of it. How does he get out of it? And so by the end of the series, and spoilers if you haven't seen it all, and it's going to be spoilers for if you haven't seen the new season, I encourage you to watch the show and come back. In fact, if you want a really great deal, if you didn't want to get Showtime, here's what I did. Amazon right now, Amazon Prime is running specials for channels, 99 cents for 2 months. I don't get paid to say this, it's just me telling you a good deal. You get Showtime for 99 cents for 2 months. So in 2 months, there's already 3 episodes, right? So in 2 months, if you get it now, you'll be able to watch all of Dexter for $2 and then just cancel it. And there's also a new show on there called Yellow Jackets, about a girls' soccer team that crashes in the woods, and what happened out there, and how that the past and the future or the present are mixed in together, telling this story. I've watched the first episode. I don't know if I'll be talking about it. I'm going to rewatch the first episode and decide if I'm going to talk about Yellow Jackets, since I have Showtime for these 2 months. So going into this new season of Dexter, right, with the thoughts about how it all ended. Deb's dead. LaGuerta's dead. He gave Harrison to Hannah. And he goes up to upstate New York to disappear. I always thought it was weird that it was upstate New York to me. I always thought that it should have been like Alaska. In fact, when I first saw it, I always thought he was in Alaska, because it's like I always thought of Alaska as the place the people go when they're running from something. But upstate New York, whatever, it's fine. So that's where we ended things. He faked his own death, even though I don't really think he was faking his own death. I think he went out there to die and didn't. And I guess he really wanted to live. Or maybe he had a plan. I don't know. Did we ever really hear like what happened? Did he go out there to sink his own boat and have another boat take him out? No. I think the best theory is what I said before. So we get a bunch of years have gone by, and he's out there as a whole different person. He is dating the chief of police, who is... I mean, I feel like when they talk about people that are psychopaths, that a lot of times these people are into law enforcement. They like to be close to it in some ways. And a lot of these shows and stories anyway. I'm not an expert on psychopathy, so if you feel like calling BS on that, I'm just saying how, at least how this show presents it, right? That he likes to stay close to law enforcement. So to me, it's kind of like he's kind of drawn to it like a moth to a flame. But these first impressions that I get from this, him just showing, in the woods, the thing with the white deer, I could tell where it was all going. And I'll say this, and it's not a negative necessarily. It's more of a, this is what Dexter has always kind of been, especially in the later seasons, when it was recognizable what they were doing. Because at the beginning of Dexter, like the first few seasons, it was kind of new to see how each season was going to cause problems for Dexter, right? And how he would get around things. Because season 1 with the ice truck killer, and it being his, again, spoilers, if you have not seen Dexter, don't watch this show. We're talking about all the stuff. The ice truck killer being, I guess I don't have to spoil it, being who he was a big shock, and what it did to both Dexter and Deb was difficult. Going into season 2 with the FBI and Dokes and Lila and his relationship with oh gosh, I forget Julie Benz's character, Rita. All of that. There was a lot going on, and it was hard to predict how it was all going to play out. Season 3 was a little bit different. But then when you get to season 4 with John Lithgow and the Trinity Killer and how all that plays out, it was really, really cool. And by the end, it still felt like a show that could go anywhere. And even though they would bring in new guest stars to be the bad guys and everything, it all just still played out as, like, Dexter has a friend. Well, it's, how is it going to end though, right? Like, the person finds out, all this stuff. Like, it all just felt pretty predictable. And that's the thing about this new season, for me, is that I can see the forest through the trees, like, immediately. Predictable, it's back. But that just depends on whether or not you don't mind that. That's just a personal thing. And the thing is this first episode, despite me pretty much predicting things the whole way through, and some of it's speculation still, because there's only 3 episodes done. But I feel like there's a definite path that they're on that's pretty predictable towards how they've done things in the past. And they could fool me. I would love that. I would love it if they fool me. But right from get-go, it just felt like, okay, here we go, and this is this beat, and this beat, and this beat. But I still found myself in this first episode quite not even intending to, or feeling like I was going to. I got pretty sucked in. I got pretty sucked into this first episode for a while. I was like, whoa. Like, I got lost in it again. And I was happy. That made me very happy. If you can, like, have those reservations and completely get lost in the show, that was great. Yes, Jennifer Carpenter is back. She is taking the Harry role of, like, the conscience on the shoulder, the angel and the devil on the shoulder, telling him, what are you doing, talking. And it's great to see Jennifer Carpenter back. The last time I saw Jennifer Carpenter in anything, it was in the movie Dragged Across Concrete, and it didn't go well for that character. And so I've got her performance burned into my memory from that movie because of how horrifying things ended up for that character played by her. So it's nice to see her back as Deb, as fictional in Dexter's head Deb. It really sucks that that's how it has to go. I really wish that Deb was able to come back as just Deb. I do, but then that brings up the whole past of, like, how they handled the original series, and you can't go back unless you want to just ignore it and tell the audience to ignore it, and then half the audience, more than half probably, would be coming at you from all sides going, this is, not only do you not have the courage to, like, begin. So this is how it is. And I like that he's really built in his life. I like that it still shows that he knows how to play people. He knows how to, live amongst, and fake it. And part of me just kind of feels like through the years, I don't know how much Dexter's faking it anymore. Or if he's actually feels things now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he is the type of person who, if cornered, he will strike. But I do feel like he really does, and always kind of has, tried to just forget about all the bad things that are inside him and be a good, decent person on the outside. And we always have to remember, like, the clever thing about Dexter is that he only kills bad people. But the problem with that is, by killing at all, he drags other people that are completely innocent with him. So there's that kind of trade-off. And so now you get all these new cast of characters in this world that you go, who's going to be the ones sacrificed along the way? And just like in the original series, they're a very mixed group of people. And I like it. I like having all these people that can just come and go and, be disposable, some of them, and others not so disposable. And some that like... It's terrible to say how we think about things, but some people we go, I wouldn't mind if that person wasn't on the show for very long, if you know what I mean. But again, if you don't like the predictable nature of that, then I'm sure that there are plenty of people that are pointing out all of those things that are just, and it's their right to do that. But it never, knowing all the things that I feel like I know already, it never stopped being watchable, and it's not like I was sitting there going, ugh. There were a few moments where over these 3 episodes that I kind of tuned out, especially in episode 2. But by episode 3, I was engaged again, pretty engaged, just watching him go through the motions. And so we are talking spoilers, so he does end up killing somebody in this first episode, and it's a super douchey guy named Matt, and it's so obvious where this is going. He even fantasizes at least once during the episode of killing this guy already. And if you count the time that he stares at him in the gun store, that's more than once. Like, you can just see it on his face. He's like, I will kill this guy. So they give you the predictable kill, the guy he's going to kill. It does become that guy, but you as an audience member, you're, again, pretty sick way of thinking, right? He's not a good person, and you wouldn't care if he died. And so when he does, the only problem I had with it is that it was so obvious, the setup to the whole thing, with the white deer, and it being all quiet, and him walking up to this bad CGI deer. I'll say this: you can do better. Showtime, you could do better with CGI. You have to be able to. It looked so fake. It wasn't even Uncanny Valley. It was just bad. But he's walking up to the deer, and you just know, that it's dumb and cheesy as this is about to be, and I don't even know if cheesy is the right word, you know the deer is going to die, and you know who's going to be the one to pull the trigger. And then you know it just gives Dexter the excuse he needs to go back and listen to his dark passenger to kill this guy. Which he does in this scene behind me. And it's seeing him, when you see the flash on his eyes of he's been waiting to do this for a long time, repressing this urge for 10 years. You know? And I think it's probably been easier to repress it because he's around mostly a bunch of people that don't need killing. So as soon as the one super douche shows up, well, it's a bit too much for him to handle anymore. And yes, the show does put the character like right in the crosshairs of Dexter. Like it's almost a little too convenient, but I didn't care. I think, I'm trying to just enjoy some stuff despite these things. Despite, like I can attack a show, I can attack a movie, I can find all the plot holes, I can find the technical problems, I can do all these things that take away from the actual enjoyment of watching something. And I'm just choosing to not be so uptight about all of it and occasionally let myself just watch something and enjoy it. And that's what I found here, was mostly enjoyment. Now, there is another huge plot thing here, and that is Harrison. Dexter's son comes back. Whether or not he should be the age he is in this show, I don't care. I wondered, I even looked up like the difference. Like I found myself caring and went, it's a TV show. Who cares? Like, so he's like, he doesn't seem, it's the same thing I'm dealing with Wheel of Time, where they admit, the people that made the show admit that they aged up the characters. They did. All right, I had some people saying that they weren't aged up. They are. But in the end, it's like, who cares? Who cares? If you want it to be a problem, it's a problem, right? That's like the old saying goes. It's not a problem unless you make it one. If it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker. It's just not for me. So Harrison's a little bit older than I think he should be, so what? Again, though, him showing up is like, okay, I did not know that they were going to go there. I mean, it was on the list of possibilities in my head. In fact, for a second, I forgot it was his son and not Rita's son. In fact, I was hoping that it was Rita's son more than it was Harrison, to be honest with you. Because knowing that it's his real son just means one thing to me, and that's we have Dexter 2. Dexter 2.0. And I don't mean better, just another Dexter. If it was Harrison, it'd be like an interesting thing of him trying to, like him wanting a father. Dexter leaving, just the same as Harrison would, except Rita's son was not, his blood. And it would have been like, I just really missed you and I really want you to be a part of my, wanted to know what happened and I tracked you down. But it being Dexter's son, Harrison, all it really is it's just a matter of time before Dexter has to make a decision about his own son. All right? Because now that he shows up and he says, you can't be here, right? Eliza, I'm not him. Letting him being smart enough to, be down in Argentina with Hannah. He says Hannah died of cancer and that he was in the foster system. Right off the bat, I don't think I believe him. I don't think I believe what happened to Hannah happened. It could be just a way to, write Yvonne Strahovski's character out so that we don't have to question it. But when he first gets there, he's just a kid who looks like he ran away and he somehow tracked down James Lindsay to upstate New York. He was in Argentina as a baby. What was Hannah teaching him down there that he would know how to do, to track him down like this? I think that something more nefarious may have happened to Hannah. And I think that Harrison's got a lot more secrets. And as we see as these 3 episodes go on, the apple does not far fall from the tree. And it could be that Harrison's got his own plans that could very well mess with Dexter's present. And how will that all play out? Because I do think Harrison is like when the way he did the test, the way he handles the other kids, it's just too on the nose to me that they're definitely heading down this route. And I think he already knows way more about Dexter than Dexter's letting on. And I think that if I had a problem, I would think that Dexter would see this. But I feel like they're dumbing him down just a little bit because he's his dad and maybe he's got a blind spot for it. But that is going to be up for interpretation by everybody, I think. Because if you have kids out there, you could say, well, you know, when it's your kid, you know, you don't see all the things that maybe you should see and everything. And I'm seeing it from a person who doesn't have kids and is just watching the show and seeing the patterns and telling you guys that's what I see. So, I don't know. But I see Harrison being a big problem. But maybe, you know, I like the kind of young Dexter story here where it's him going up against the kids in school. And I can even see him already setting up possibly this Ethan character as a fall guy for some of the things that are going on with the books that he's drawing with the other kids in school, you know, all decapitated and stuff. The scenes with Deb are really enjoyable. I like their increasingly weirdness of it. I loved a couple of the way they were shot. I love the one when they were in the bathroom and you were seeing her reflection, not her like face-to-face performance. I really liked how they shot that scene, that really close, tight quarters scene. And I also really liked her doing the wood chipper scene. That was a lot of fun. And I hope that they increase to do that. Now, there's another plot going on in this show. And that's missing girls. And it made me think of the movie Wind River, where it talks about how, Native Americans have a missing persons problem that's been going on for a really, really long time, where women just disappear. And it's insane the numbers that has. And I feel like they're kind of going with this, kind of down this route a little bit in this series, because there is like a Indian land, Native American land. You know, I always have a hard time like splitting hairs on that. There's a Native American land issue in this series, and I think that they're kind of dealing with that stuff because there are these missing girls. Who's doing that? So there's also a big bad behind everything else that's going on, and that also felt really predictable because while they have two guys on this show that they're kind of setting up to be the villains of the show, you've got Frederick Lane, a veteran character actor from many, many shows. I always think of him as the air marshal from Lost and several other really cool shows. He's this guy named Olsen who is like he's into the destroying environment angle. Super rich guy, pipelines, protesters hate him. You know, he's and he doesn't care and he wants to tell the world, you don't know how the world works and all this. He's that guy that you don't like. Could he be the one killing girls? And then you have Clancy Brown, who, Clancy Brown's career is amazing, and he's been every kind of character you can imagine. Good guys and bad guys, but let's admit it, his bad guys are way more memorable than his good guys. Everybody knows Shawshank Redemption. He's the most evil prison guard. And that was a long time ago, though. God, like 30 years ago, practically. And he's the guy that has the son that's missing, that Dexter killed. And he's a big help to the town, right? But they're rich and everything else. And but they're setting him up as like, yeah, he's got money, but he's helped out. But there's just one problem. I am really good at certain things when it comes to identifying actors. whether it's by their voice or other things. I am kind of known in certain groups as like Captain IMDb, and there is a shot, a very close-up shot, a few close-up shots, especially the first close-up shot of a man looking at a computer monitor of a girl that was obviously going to go missing in episode 1, right? The runaway girl at the bar was clearly like she had victim practically tattooed on her face that was going to go missing, and she's in this room that she can't get out of, and someone's looking at her. And even at that close-up of a shot of just a guy's eyeball, kind of just around this area of the face, with just one eye showing, I went, oh, that's Clancy Brown. That's Clancy Brown's eyeball. Now, maybe it's not. They got two guys of about similar age, but it was the build of the guy who put on the camouflage suit to shoot her off the back porch that really told me that that's Clancy Brown. Not only was that Clancy Brown's eyes, but it was Clancy Brown's build. I don't think Fred Lane is that massive around the middle. Like, Clancy Brown's a big dude. And, or at least, he's always seemed big. When he was younger, he looked really more imposing. As he's gotten older, I feel like he's a little bit softer looking, but I don't know if that's how they just shoot him. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I already think it's Clancy Brown, the guy who's Matt's father. That's the guy who's taking girls. And you would need money to afford to have a place where you could put somebody and hide them. And for whatever reason it is, I think that he's the one doing it, and I think it's pretty obvious that it's him. But does that again take away any enjoyment? Because again, it goes back to that comfort of, if you miss the predictable nature of Dexter and knowing where it's going but enjoying the journey, well, I feel like that's where they're taking us. And that just is fine by me. It really is. Life's too short to just complain about everything, and it's just nice seeing Dexter back. If this was really bad, guys, I'd tell you, there are things in here that aren't the best. Right? I could rail on certain things, like how part of this feels like a Dexter show, but also mixed with a teen drama. I could do without some of that. Jamie Chung showing up as a podcaster for true crime. I love Jamie Chung, but again, it's just another person that's going to be just a thing in the way, and do I really need that? I don't know if I like that angle at all. And just, a bit at times it's just a little too on the nose, but otherwise I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So those are my first thoughts. That's a lot of thoughts. I've given you guys a lot of things in this video. So if you did like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and the bell for all notifications. If, I don't know if I'm going to continue to review this. I really wanted to at least talk about this. So I'm thinking, if nothing else, I'll be back for a season finale, possible series finale. I feel like this is a limited series. I know it's not going on for 8 more years. But we'll be back to cover this in some form before the end. By the end of this. But otherwise, remember, like what you like. Don't worry about what other people think of what you like. Form your own opinions. And enjoy watching TV. And don't let other people's opinions let it ruin your experience. Have a good one. Bye.